In this video, we are discussing more of an in-depth look at what we talked about in our last video about short form versus long form content. We're going to be looking at audience and how retention works in short form and long form, and also storytelling and what you should be telling in short form versus long form and what people are looking for. And in a way, the encompassing topic of that is how do we keep people engaged in both forms? I think is the general of what we're going for here, Snez. So what do you think about audience in terms of short form and long form content? You can pick one.
I think we kind of touched on it on the last video. But I think going in knowing that your short form content needs to be derived from your long form, you basically just create this big web, right?
Yep.
So
Like the web.
you just create a big spider web of content that you're pulling shorts from and you're pulling long form content from. Eventually you can be pulling long form out of your shorts as you combine, 5 to 10 shorts together to create a long form video. And what you'll see, at least from my experience, is your audience will start to consume that short form, and then they go into wanting to hear more or learn more. So they start looking at that long form. Or those that are in your long form content already are going to be pushed through the algorithm gods, that short form content.
Yeah. It'll probably appear on the recommended.
Yeah. So that's where I see audience is as you create this web of content, you start to leave little spots for your audience to go from one short form video to a long form, and then from that long form video you want to point them to another long form or back to a short, which is going to point them somewhere else.
Yeah, I agree with that. And just to add to it, I would say that you want your audience to be comfortable in both places. Because ideally, when you're creating content, you want people to be on your channel for more than just one video. So, for example, this video is in a playlist with the previous video, and it was likely recommended whether on an end screen or it was just the next in the playlist and you've continued watching from the first one, or you found this organically, or you found this from a short. There's basically like your 4 options of where your audience is going to be finding content. From a short that took them to the long form, organically, the long form got pushed to them. It's in the playlist, or it was in an end screen from a similar topic video. I can't think of any other way that you would find content. So that's your web right there that you're talking about. That's your audience web that you, or net, maybe you could think of it as a net. You're throwing your net out, and it's in so many places. It's got so many grab points to bring those people in and to watch your content. So I would say the other thing I would say is sometimes the audience is the same on both sides. Other times there's people who don't have time to watch your long form content. So they're looking forward to the next short, or TikTok or whatever it is.
And don't be discouraged by people not sharing between the two.
Oh yeah.
You can't let the fact that you have more viewers on your shorts or more views on your shorts versus your long form, you can't let that be a mental trigger for you.
Yeah.
You have to be able to say, look, I still got a little piece of their attention and their time, which we touched on last video being one of those commodities you can't get back. It's not a renewable resource, right? Time is you get what you get, and you don't throw a fit kind of deal.
Yep. Say that to my kids all the time.
But that being said, that person gave you some of their time to take part in your content. And that's a big deal, whether it's one person or 100 people or 1,000 people. That part doesn't matter. That one person that came after your content and hit that thumbs up or commented or that sort of thing. We got one of our first comments today.
Yep.
That was such an awesome feeling.
Oh yeah, on a short too.
On a short, yeah.
Yeah.
And
I think
it
with
just,
that, really
yeah,
quick, you're making content for people, and depending on what you're teaching or what you're sharing, some of those people are also trying to make stuff out there, right? So like you should be making something that matters for the people who are going to watch it or are watching it. Um so that's something I want to just add to what you're
yeah. We have another video coming out that I want to touch on. I don't know what we're gonna name it yet, uh, but it's one that Cabbage filmed today, in where he says people are designed to create stuff. That's what we're here for. Um, we have
It'll
the
probably
ability
be
to create.
up there in the corner.
we, we have the ability to create content across platforms. We have the ability to go out and create stuff with our hands and create a better life for our families and for ourselves. Um, Creation is just it's it's what we're here for,
Oh yeah.
whether it's online or not.
Yeah.
So
I mean, think about it.
um,
Everything we do is making something.
mhm,
Like the more and more you think about it, the more and more you realize that your ideas are just things that you want to create.
yeah,
And it could be bad things or good things, but like everything gets created eventually by your actions, or other
mhm,
people create things with their actions, right? Like everything. We wouldn't have
right,
any of the technology or anything without that mindset of creativity. Um,
right.
in terms of your audience, too, the other thing that I wanted to say connected to that, which I do mention in that other video, is you want to make content for your audience that's out there, not just for the people that are currently on your channel watching your content. You want to picture in your mind before you make your content that you have a room full of people that are ready to receive whatever it is you're about to say, and make that video and content for those people, and keep making that room bigger and bigger and bigger every time you push something out, because you don't want to pigeonhole yourself into like, well, I'm happy with my 100 subs and that's all I'm going to make videos for. Because if you want to grow, making a video for just 100 people is going to be just that, and it will never be
Yeah.
more, because that's who you're making it for. But if you're saying I'm making this for 10,000 people, and they're in my head while I'm making this and I'm thinking about them and how I can impact their lives with my message. So that's just another facet to audience that I would add.
Well, and don't discount yourself in the fact that it's going to be able to be another video down the road once you've learned how to edit videos and learned how to make short form content,
Yeah.
and you've gotten really good at it because you've made, you know, 200 videos, and you're going to be able to come back and make another video off of your beginning content and
Yeah.
be able to say, look at how hard I was trying, but how bad my quality was compared to where it's at now.
And it doesn't even have to be the quality was bad. It could just
Mhm.
be like we're gonna make that video. You watch, it's
Yeah.
coming. That video will come out in 6 months to a year or whatever, of us being like, hey, remember that one time where we tried the short that had the ostrich in it?
Listen, we don't need to talk about
and
the ostrich right
and
now, okay?
YouTube is like, That
We
video
talk
is
about
not
Bruno,
relevant.
okay?
But we're going to talk about it. And we'll be like, look, we're testing the waters. This in a way is an experiment. And every video you put out is an experiment until you've figured out what works. And if you're at the beginning and you don't know what works, do your research. This here, if you're watching this video, it's part of your research because you're learning about what you're doing wrong so that you can do it right. Right?
Yeah.
So with all that, audience aside,
That ostrich video is going to be a short, by the way.
the ostrich video is already a short.
No,
Just the ostrich?
That little, just us talking right there about the ostrich. That's going to be a short. I guarantee it. And I'm going to title it, "We Don't Talk About Bruno."
Anyways, with all that being said about audience, and this next part is connected to your audience, it's about how you tell a story in short form versus long form content. There's a similarity between storytelling in both, of which I'm going to touch on that really quick, and then I want to hear what you have to say about it. But most of the time, people want to know what you're going to talk about. Now, if you're doing highlights, this doesn't really apply. But if you are trying to push a new concept or a triggering concept or whatever it is, you want to tell people what they're going to hear in the video. You want to deliver on that and then give them a reason to come back and keep watching. Those are, I think, are like your core bread and butter pieces of a video. Is your intro should talk about what you're going to do. You should do that thing that you said. Otherwise, why did you say you were going to do it? And then say, if you like this, come back for more because we're going to keep talking about stuff like this. Start with those 3 things. That's simple. You can do 3 steps. Everyone can do 3 steps. 4 steps is too hard. 3 is good. Everyone can do 3. Anyways,
You're
so
fired.
what would I'm fired. So for you, what would you do? Holy crap, back up a second. So for you, what would you do for content storytelling in your content?
For storytelling my content, I would, first and foremost, I think everything starts with a good content strategy.
Oh yeah.
And so for me, I would sit down and put my content strategy together. And in that, I'm going to think of my audience. I'm going to think of what keywords are my audience going to be searching. And I'm going to be thinking about, I'm just going to be putting together my content strategy. And then in doing so, I am going to know which direction to kind of take it. Mostly based off the keywords. That's going to be what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to start to weave that web, right? You're going to start putting out content. You're going to put out your long form and your short form. You're going to get a good foundation down of content for people to consume, all the while pushing it. But then once you have that foundation down, you can really start to push that content and say, look, this is what we have. We have a place for you to come hang out.
Yeah.
Come hang out and check out what we've got.
Yeah. And I think with that, like having that foundation, like you're talking about, the bedrock of content that you're going to build your channel on, it's going to take some time to push that all out. And you should do it over time. Don't do it all at once.
Yeah.
Like, do it over time because you're going to learn more if you just do it step by step. Build your foundation. Don't expect that you're going to grow much while you're building your foundation. But then when you start taking shorts from some of those older videos or newer videos and you're pushing people back to that content, they're like, oh, I'm here and I'm comfortable and I want to keep watching content. And oh, look, this channel has more content for me to consume. And they're going to keep watching it. And then they'll be like, oh my gosh, I'm 5 videos in and I haven't subbed to this person. I haven't subbed to you, right? and then maybe they'll subscribe
Yeah. Yeah.
or follow
Um,
you or whatever it is on that
I think
platform.
that's where you really start to earn. Yeah, I think that's where you really start to earn the sub, um, or that follow, or that like, or whatever it is that you're searching for on whatever platform you're on. Um, it's your job as the creator to earn that respect, to grab that sub so they want to come back.
Yeah,
So doing that thing that you said, um, where you come back to giving them a call to action to come back and see it, I think that's huge. Um, I think that's really important in the grand scheme of things, is giving that call to action to come back and see it if
definitely.
you like the content.
100%.
So
Subscribe.